Most people do not realize they are trapped. They wake, work, worry, sleep, and call it life. They chase pleasure, avoid pain, and repeat the same stories again and again. Not because they are weak, not because they are blind, but because they are caught in something ancient, something subtle, something powerful. The Vedic sages called it Samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, a wheel that turns through lifetimes, driven by desire, fear, and ignorance. Not ignorance as stupidity, but ignorance as forgetfulness. Forgetting who we are, forgetting why we're here, forgetting what is real. Samsara is not a place. It is a pattern, a momentum of mind, a deep conditioning that tells you, this is all there is. Keep going, keep wanting, keep becoming. And so, people live in reaction, pushed by craving, pulled by aversion, addicted to identity, obsessed with image, always reaching, never arriving. Most people do not question the pattern because the pattern gives them purpose, a role, a name, a race to run, a future to build. Even their suffering becomes part of the identity they cling to. Samsara is comfortable in its familiarity, even when it hurts, even when it numbs, because to step out of it means to lose what you've always known, your story, your self-concept, your sense of control. And so the cycle continues. Birth into form, life through habit, death without awareness, and then rebirth, not into freedom, but into repetition. The same lessons, the same desires, the same forgetting. But why do most people stay trapped? Because the world rewards the cycle. The world feeds the illusion. It tells you more is better, faster is success. Productivity is purpose. Busyness is virtue. No one teaches stillness. No one teaches how to sit in discomfort without running, how to face fear without fighting, how to let go without collapsing. The systems around you, culture, media, even some traditions, often reinforce samsara. They may speak of freedom, but they sell identity. They may promise peace, but they train you to perform. Samsara is maintained through unconsciousness, through living on the surface, through mistaking thought for truth, emotion for identity, form for reality. And the biggest trap is the belief that escape is impossible, that awakening is for saints and sages, that liberation is a fantasy. This hopelessness is itself part of the cycle, a protective wall around the ego's prison. But the truth is, samsara has no wall, only a veil, and veils can be lifted, not by force, but by awareness, not by doing more, but by seeing more. The first crack in the cycle is simple: awareness. The moment you question, the moment you pause, the moment you feel the futility of endless seeking and wonder, is there another way? That question is sacred. It is the beginning of the path home. But many silence it. They drown it in distraction. They run from it into achievement. They numb it with noise. Because to leave samsara means to die before dying, to let the false self dissolve, to watch your carefully built identity fall apart, to surrender the known for the unknowable. Most are not ready. And that's okay. The soul is patient. The wheel will turn until the yearning grows stronger than the fear, until the pain of illusion outweighs the comfort of ignorance. But you, if you are listening, you are already near the edge. You have felt it, the emptiness of chasing, the tiredness of pretending, the quiet voice that says, "This isn't it." That voice is not weakness. It is your soul calling. It is the fire under the ash. It is the memory of freedom you never fully forgot. Samsara does not end through escape. It ends through awakening, through seeing clearly, through remembering what you are and what you are not. And you are not the roles you play. not the stories you tell, not the past you carry, not the future you fear. You are the one who sees, the one who knows, the one who has always been. And in that knowing, the wheel begins to slow, the illusion begins to thin, and the path, long buried beneath distraction, begins to appear, not outside you, within. The journey out of samsara is not about becoming more. It is about becoming less entangled, less reactive, less identified with what comes and goes. It is about subtraction, not addition. Silence, not noise. Being, not becoming. But this frightens the ego, because the ego survives through form, through doing, comparing, achieving. It cannot understand stillness. It cannot trust emptiness, and so it clings to identity, to conflict, to story. The ego says, without me, there is nothing. But the truth is, without ego, there is everything. Spaciousness, presence, peace, freedom not from life, but within life. Most people stay trapped because they confuse ego death with annihilation. They fear losing control, forgetting who they are, dissolving into nothing. But the soul does not fear this. The soul knows that what dies was never real. What remains is presence. Vast, timeless, luminous, not a concept, not a belief, a felt reality that cannot be described, only lived. Samsara loses power the moment you stop feeding it. The moment you stop chasing what the mind tells you will complete you. The moment you sit still long enough to feel what is already whole. But this requires courage, not the courage to fight, but the courage to stop fighting, not the strength to push, but the strength to surrender. Surrender is not defeat. It is alignment. It is the realization that life is not against you, that your suffering was not punishment, but invitation, that every repetition was a call to wake up. Every difficult relationship, every loss, every disappointment, they were not accidents. They were mirrors, teachers, cracks in the illusion, opportunities to see what you were clinging to and let go. And this letting go is not once. It is again and again, every day, every breath, letting go of who you thought you were, letting go of the future you imagined, letting go of the pain you identified with. Each time you let go, you return, not to nothingness, but to self, to the silent awareness that was never trapped, only hidden. Samsara continues when you forget this, when you slip back into the trance of becoming, when you mistake the movie for the screen, the thought for the thinker, the wave for the ocean. But even then, the soul waits, patiently, lovingly. It does not rush, it does not punish. It simply waits for the moment you remember, again. Some call it awakening, others call it grace. The Vedas called it moksha, liberation, not escape from the world, but freedom within it, not an end, but a return. You begin to walk differently, not faster, but deeper, not higher, but clearer. You no longer try to fix the dream. You start to wake up from it. You begin to live, not from fear, but from presence. You may still feel pain, but it no longer defines you. You may still have thoughts, but they no longer control you. You may still play roles, but you never forget. You are not the role. You are the awareness behind it. And in this awareness, samsara loses its grip. The wheel slows, the illusion fades, the seeker dissolves. Only the self remains. Most people stay trapped in samsara, not because they are bad, not because they are weak, but because they are asleep. But you, if you are still listening, are waking up. Do not rush it. Do not force it. Simply keep returning to breathe, to presence, to the quiet light behind the noise. Let that be enough. You do not need to escape the world. You need to see it clearly. And when you do, when the illusion is pierced, samsara ends. Not with a bang, but with a breath. Not in death, but in life. Not far away, but here. Now. Always.